from the perspective of advice you have for folks who are in similar positions, if you were talking to a founder who said, my product is great, but my sales conversations keep dying, I keep getting that what reaction, what would your advice be?
First question would be, what do users say? Not decision makers. When you've shown this to someone who would be a user, what questions did they ask? What did they light up about versus what didn't land? Because I think that shows like a value creation mechanism lies. We can discuss and debate reducing cogs and increasing this and decreasing that and arrows up and down. And we can have an academic and business discussion about that. But I'm more interested if users get excited when they're exposed to the product, because I think keeping your nose on that and following that is going to help you unlock how to present in the next sales conversation. My favorite thing to do is share quotes from customers with prospects. Like a customer told me that right now they're doing this based on intuition and that their intuition is often wrong. And for me, selling like a data-driven decision intelligence platform, I'm not saying, hey, you're often wrong. Your intuition is poor. Yeah, I know that data is good, but I can say when I showed this to reference customer, they were excited about this because they said they're often deciding based on intuition today, and that intuition is often wrong. And that just lands very differently. So that's why I would say the product to more users, just to get these kind of quotes. And RTP do a fantastic job of taking these kind of call transcripts and gleaning these kind of magic moments and key insights and patterns over time, so that you can really start to work programmatically, so that you can work on this kind of pattern. And I think that's going to help me go from my kind of 2 customers, 3 customers situation into my next 3, next 5, next.
Yeah, that the jobs to be done analysis. I started that because when I first started working at LinkedIn, it was the first company where like getting customer interviews wasn't so difficult. And so I started getting a large number of interviews. And this is like before AI. So I'll just have like raw transcripts that I have to parse through manually and then go create these snapshots from. But then getting up to 20 customers to speak to me and get product feedback got easy, which means the hard part was how to organize all of this feedback into something that's like meaningful for my product positioning and also for my colleague in product who needed that input for roadmapping. But that's the intent, is for you to see where all the magic moments within that conversation. And then to not only do that, but see those patterns over a handful of calls to see what is the market actually asking of me. And then that goes into your roadmap. So I actually just gave you a pretty like gnarly report about all of your conversations as they relate to the product of Omnisent, and also how your performance has been as a salesperson. What's been your feedback now after taking a quick glance at those reports? That is a combination of all of your conversations back since October.
So when I got those reports from you, I was sitting in the sun in Berlin, drinking a really good smoothie, and it was like early spring day. I was waiting to meet 2 of my team members for lunch. Those reports just struck me. I felt like a real sense of like this was a milestone. This was a milestone because I had lived that arc that you described and that you quantified in the doc. As a founder, these successes can be few and far between, like landing the first customer, the second customer. If I'm only getting that as my like emotional payoff, that's really rough. I'm like out in the desert. But seeing this continuous progress and also seeing like actions and improvements, which I'm excited to take, that made me feel like there was this kind of connective wire between my first conversations and now. And that was really meaningful to me because I know that outcomes and obsessing on outcomes is not a way to be successful long term in sales. You need to focus on what you can control and work on your inputs to outputs. So this really quantified my inputs and my input quality over time. And I'd never seen something like that.
You need some dopamine somewhere. And as you're in this process building, even if what you're looking at is just, oh my goodness, this is how far we've come in 6 months in terms of how we're gleaning insights or how the pitch is landing or what we've gotten, that's a nice moment of validation to say, whoa, look at all these things that I have done. Yeah.
And imagine I can share this. It also helps me express to an investor or like a potential co-founder, here's the trajectory we're on, and here's why. I won't show that whole doc, but now I'm able to storytell around that. Say, in the beginning, it was like this, then we started doing it like that, and now here's where we are because we did that. And knowing why you've been successful is way more repeatable, scalable, and sustainable than being super lucky or having a big break. So you need that too, but you want to be ready to seize the opportunity when you do get that break.
So we're about getting close to the end of our time. A little bit of shameless plug time. So you've mentioned that like our analysis and our quantitative approach so really attracted you to come work with us, which for us, that's how we believe, that's like the center of our growth philosophy and our growth methodology. How has your ideas changed on having growth advisors now since we've worked together for close to a year now versus before? And what would you say to any founders who might be watching this or on the fence about hiring RTP? What would you say to them?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the great insights and the great work that you've done, but I also have to mention the consistency and the consistent respect that you've shown me in my founder journey, giving me space when I needed it, offering advice when I asked for it, and also challenging when I asked for it. So I think that considering a partnership, it has to be about trust. It has to be about mutual understanding and goals alignment. So I've really felt that with you and with Jennifer since I started. So yeah, I just want to emphasize to founders who are evaluating who you bring in, who you bring close. Obviously, you need to work with super smart, sharp people that are the best at what they do, but also, do you trust them? Have you built trust? And that's why I continue as well working with RTP, not only because of a report or an insight, but because of that trust.
I think that's a great point, though, in terms of building that trust as you build out your team. I think now we'll give you an opportunity to shamelessly plug what you've got coming up next. If people want to find you or connect with you, where do they find out what's going on with Omnisent? Give us all the details.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me, Neil Metzler, on LinkedIn. I'm also on Substack, so you can find my newsletter via my LinkedIn profile. It's called Neil Founded a Startup. That messaging is because a lot of my tribe, a lot of my community are big tech folks from all the FANG companies. And I wanted to show and shine a light that if you are thinking that maybe you won't have that opportunity to take a leap into entrepreneurship, I've talked about some of the trade-offs that I've navigated and also the freedom that it's given me. So yeah, I would love for you to connect and follow me on Substack. It's Neil Founded a Startup. Yeah, and of course, Omnisent, you can find us at omnisent.io. That's omnisent.io if you're interested to learn more about the solution. And yeah, would be happy to connect with you and hear more about what you're working on when it comes to social sentiment in sports.
So, Neil, thank you so much for your time today. This has been such an incredible conversation. And for anyone listening, we'll make sure that all Neil's links are in the description. Either one of you, any last parting thoughts?
Neil, I would love to hear from you. Like, one, what do you think the next Captain's Log episode should be about? What would you be interested in hearing from us? And two, what are you looking forward to working with RTP for the next 9 months, maybe for the rest of the previous 9 months?
I'm excited about both of those. So I would love to hear you go in depth with someone about before and after a pivot, because I know that we didn't get to talk about one of my pivots on here, and I think that is so liberating for founders to hear about, that there is a promised land after a pivot. A pivot is not a failure. It's a fail fast reconfigure, right? And in the next 9 months, let's capture this category. We're going to take the market by storm. We understand what we're doing now. We understand why it's great for customers. We understand why customers love it in their own words. So I'm excited to bring more people aboard and really work with more customers, especially around the World Cup, around NFL 2026, around the NBA finals, around tennis, golf. We have a very aggressive roadmap, and I'm excited to connect more people to Omnisent.
Let's keep growing.
Yeah, let's keep growing.
Something great together, as we always say. Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Jennifer.
Have a great afternoon.